Okay, so on to the next track in Sammy's Kicks and Flats Addict series, man. The series has already started really well. We did Metallica Unforgiven 1, well, Unforgiven, and then we did Metallica Unforgiven 2, which is very clever, and now we're doing Metallica Unforgiven 3. For those of you who are only jumping on now, I suggest you go back to the beginning of the series, specifically for this, because this is a trilogy and it all sort of leads into each other. Go watch it from the very first one. So yeah, man, we started off hot, man. Both these tracks, the last two tracks I've absolutely loved, and now I'm super intrigued to find out what this one's about. But as it always is with Sammy's series, it always is such a great journey, and we've started on a good wicket over here. So let's go. For those of you who are interested in the custom series product, you guys can click on the link down and pin comments, and you can read more about that. Let's rock and roll. Let's see what we got. What's this one about? Beautiful instrumentation, but before we even carry on over here, I just want to talk about this artwork over here, which I've never seen in my life before. The actual coffin, 6 foot under. Essentially, firstly, it looks like a keyhole, and then it looks like a coffin. So it's literally his death is the key to his eternal life. But then also the magnetic poling, like the north and south, like the two poles, and then the waveform that is created by that magnetic poling. So you've got like the earth aspect of it and the magnetic forces, right? Which all, so it's basically like everything that force was towards his death, right? His entire existence was trying to push him to his grave. They're just fucking fire on the artwork. But anyway, that's just something I thought I'd just mention anyway. Beautiful piano there. I love that do-do-do, and then the hi-hats. Come on, bro, fire! It's just so suspenseful. Okay, so he's set to sea, so he's going on the journey of life, but obviously what is he pulled by? He's pulled by monetary gain. He's pulled by greed, essentially. Pulled, obviously, that's the distraction. So like you're out at sea to find new land, to journey on and to open up your life and open up your soul and open up your spirit and open up your horizons, but something's glimmering over there that just... this can make me rich, I'm greedy, and you get distracted and you veer towards that and you lose your soul to a certain degree. So fire. By the light of golden treasure, was he the one causing pain with his careless dreaming? Been afraid, always. I like what he's saying over here, so I'm pausing, but was he the one that was causing the pain with his careless dreaming, in terms of like there's nothing wrong with having a dream, right? And usually when you have a dream, people can like hyperly obsess over it, but sometimes that obsession can lead you to very, very dark places. So like, did you cause your own pain by overly obsessing over this dream? And this dream, what was it? Was it pure? Was it about finding yourself? Or was it all about just going and gaining that treasure, right? And then you obsess over that and you kind of lose yourself in that process, right? You actually close off your horizons and you just become this distracted person who's very shallow. Anyway, interesting.
Be the one causing pain with his careless dreaming. Been afraid, always afraid of the things he's feeling. He could just be gone. He would just sail on. You just sail on. Lost if I've got nowhere to go.
That's crazy. So like, to say, how can I be lost if I've got nowhere to go? So basically all that speaks to is a man that has no purpose, essentially. So he's basically saying, I don't have a purpose and I don't have a meaning for my existence. I don't really know what it is. I feel like I'm just in this shallow territory where I feel like my existence doesn't have any value. So even when I say I'm lost, how can I be lost if I don't feel my life has a purpose? The only way I can get found is to actually add value to my life and give my life some level of meaning, right? And then I at least have a roadmap as to not being lost, right? I can see that there's a destination over here. There's a destination for my soul. There's a destination for me being here on this earth, essentially. So that over there just speaks to feeling like he really has no purpose.
If I've got nowhere to go, search for seas of gold. How come it's got so cold?
Because you're searching for seas of gold as opposed to searching for broader horizons, as opposed to, you know what I mean? So I love that line over there. Search for seas of gold. How come it's got so cold? Because you're searching for the wrong thing. You're searching for the monetary thing. At the end of the day, you're being distracted. So you're not seeing the beauty around you. So that's why you feel like your entire life has gotten cold. It's not that the world has gotten cold around you. It's that you've made yourself cold in this world. Fire.
Gold. How come it's got so cold? How can I be lost in remembrance I relive? And how can I blame you when it's me I can't forgive?
Fire. How can I blame you? How can I point fingers at you where I myself have not forgiven myself for the things that I have done? So basically all he's talking about over here is that it's all projection. Do you know what I mean? And that introspection over there is actually the beginning to him finding. That's why it's so great, this whole trilogy. It's kind of like the road to him finding himself, the road to him sort of finding his purpose, right? But how did he do that? He did that by taking accountability and responsibility for himself. So, and how can I blame you? So this is a big introspective point over here. How can I point a finger at somebody else when it's me? I can't even forgive myself, because I internally know that I'm not a good person. I internally know that I've got my own demons and I've sinned myself, right? And I haven't even absolved myself of those. So me pointing my finger at you for what you've done, for how you've sinned, is just full utter projection. I'm just projecting because I'm uncomfortable with who I am. You know what I mean? I like that.
These days drift on inside a fog. It's thick and suffocating. It's sinking life outside its tail.
I like the scheming he's doing over here, because the schemes are fantastic. So the way he's actually playing into that he's on the boat and that's his life, right? The vehicle his vehicle is that boat throughout life, going out into seas and searching for something that he doesn't really know what he's searching for, then being distracted by money, fame, and all that kind of thing. But the way he's playing with that, these days drifting on, so like as a ship would drift, right, and as a boat would drift in the water, in the currents, inside a fog, which is you would experience out at sea. Thickening and suffocating is almost like, you can't see, there's a fog, you know what I mean? So it's the different sort of weather conditions in the life, basically talking about to the different experiences he has in his life. And then over here, this sinking life, as opposed to like when you think of a ship, its ship is sinking, all right? So that again reinforcing the ship as the vehicle of his life, right? The ship is him, right? This sinking life outside is hell, inside is intoxicating, right? So it's almost like there is beauty out there in the world, but even though he's on his journey to find it, he still feels like he's literally in the keel of the ship, and it's intoxicating over there, right? It feels like he's isolated even though he's on this journey. I think it's fucking fire. The whole scheme of this is brilliant. This trilogy has been something special, man. Really, really love it. And the instrumentation as well has been my favorite of many bands. I mean, I love this. It's so pronounced. The guitar, the piano, everything. They've got a very distinct, different sound, which I love.
Outside it's hell, inside intoxicating. He's run aground like his life. What a much to share.
Sorry, just playing on that time. I know I'm pausing. It's going to be a long video over here. But over here where he's at the sinking life, outside is hell, inside is intoxicating. But if you actually think on the way he's talking about it is the immediate ship at the end of the day. So it's not the horizons. He's just basically what he's saying is like, yes, I'm on these waters. I need to get out of the storm, right? It's not all hell, right? But to him, it feels like it's hell. So it's like inside, because there's a storm outside, right? And we're journeying on, and eventually the waters will calm and the skies will clear, right? But he's basically saying that if I go outside, it's like he's got nowhere to turn. If I go outside, I'm faced with the storm that I don't really want to face. So I'm going to go inside, and I'm being faced with this intoxicating isolationism that I can't handle either. So he doesn't know what to do. So he's basically saying that in his like mindset is like how he feels internally, even if he goes out to distract himself, right? Like out in the real world, it's just chaos, right? Because that's how his life feels. And then if he sort of retreats into not the real world, if he retreats into the world of himself, inside his own feelings and whatever else, it's intoxicating where he feels like he almost can't breathe. So he's literally got nowhere to turn. But that he's only speaking about his immediate environment, right? He's not but the fact that he's playing with all of this as it being a ship is so clever, because it's like, yes, you're in this for now, but there are you've got a greater journey to cover at the end of the day, and you're only experiencing the storm right now, right? Eventually the storm is going to pass, right? But how does that storm pass? He's got to get, even if that storm passes, where will he be? Will he be inside the keel of the ship, consistently intoxicating yourself? Which means, again, then for you, outside of the ship is storms again, right? But if you deal with what's inside there so that you don't feel like you're intoxicated, right? Or if you step out of that, right? But if you deal with, again, you can play with this so much, this can get very philosophical as well. But it's like, if you deal with your own, your own space, your own house, your own sort of heart, right, that the storms will disappear, which means that, you won't feel intoxicated, which means you can come out onto the deck of the ship and the storm will pass, right? But it all starts with the intoxication of yourself with inside that ship on this greater journey of life, right? Don't know if I've articulated that as best as I wanted to, but we move. Let's go.
Outside it's hell, inside intoxicating. He's run aground like his life. What a much too shallow. Slipping fast.
He's run. Oh my god, I'm gonna be pausing so much because the lyrics are so fire on this, man. Oh my god, he's run aground, right? Like a ship would, like literally, so he's found land, but like his life. So it's kind of like saying it's like he's shipwrecked, right? Water much too shallow at the end of the day. So I like that as well, where he says, okay, so water's much too shallow, which means he's kind of saying that I'm much too shallow as well, right? There's no depth to me either, right? Like his life, fire.
Much too shallow, slipping fast down with the ship, fading in the shadows now. A castaway, babe, all gone away.
I love this over here. So it's basically I'm now shipwrecked. I was on a journey. I didn't know where I was going because of this intoxication and because of this fog. I had no road map. I couldn't navigate myself. I landed up shipwrecking my life, where I kind of had an idea for my life, but it didn't go according to plan because I am psychologically messed up because of my pains and because of my demons. And now that I've actually hit land on this island, I'm in the middle of nowhere. I'm completely a castaway. No one sees me for who I am. I feel completely isolated with nowhere to go and not even a vehicle to take me to greener pastures. Okay, let's go.
They gone away. How can I be lost if I've got nowhere to go? Search for seas of gold. How come it's got so cold? How can I be lost in remembrance I relive? And how can I blame you when it's me I can't forgive?
Fire. So good. Long song though. Woo, 8 minutes. The guitar playing is wow.
Forgive me. Forgive me now.
I love what he's doing over here. It's so clever. Now he's done that whole thing where it was the love me still, right? That was clever actually, because in the actual, I don't know if it was this song or the other song, I can't even remember anymore, but that love me still is usually love me not. I only just picked that up now over there. So he's actually consistently gambling in terms of like, does he still love himself essentially? But over here is forgive me or forgive me not, all right? And he's saying that that's not actually a decision that he can sort of just decisively make, where it's like, it's fine, I forgive myself. But his trauma is so heavy, his disdain for himself as a person is so heavy that he actually gambles that question, where it's like he wants to forgive himself, but he doesn't want to forgive himself, because being in that state where he holds himself accountable to absolutely everything and not letting himself go and finding green is something that actually somewhat makes him comfortable. He's become comfortable with the darkness. So if he forgives himself, then he goes into the light, and he doesn't really want to go into the light because that's uncharted territory, right? So he's in this pendulum thing, and he doesn't know when the pendulum is going to stop, or where, on which side will the pendulum stop. So he's playing it into that game that we used to play as children, where you'd pull the pedal, right? But what's so cool about that is the resemblance of the actual flowers. As he plays this game with his existence, eventually he's going to run out of petals, which means he's going to run out of days. But when he eventually runs out of days, right, what will be the last petal that he pulls? Will he have forgiven himself, or will he not have forgiven himself? And he's basically equating that to this gambling game that he's doing with the petals of the flowers. And once he runs out of petals, he doesn't know whether he will be able to forgive himself or not be able to give himself. So will he die with a purity of heart, or will he die with resentment? Fire. So clever. The whole concept of this is so clever.
Forgive me now.
love the instrumentation build up. You guys are gonna fucking hate me. This is going on to like 20 minutes, but anyway, this is just such a sick song that I just have to give my thoughts on it, right? And if you guys can always just go and listen to this without me mumbling and jumbling all over it. But I love the way the instrumentation picked up on there. I love the fact that there was like this marching band type drumming over there, where it starts to get intense, where his existence is starting to get intense because time is running out. He's running out of petals, right? So the instrumentation follows that feel, it follows that narrative, right? And then his whole pitch escalates as well, where this is now getting dire, it's getting desperate, right? It's like, am I going to finally forgive myself or not forgive myself? Forgiving myself means that I have to let go of everything I know, and not forgiving myself is dying with all these demons and never being able to have seen the light. Dying in that intoxicating keel of the ship and never ever being able to come out and see the storm passing and finally see those calm waters. So very cool on the instrumentation, the way it's picking up as well with the desperation of the whole forgive me not vibe.
Forgive me not. Forgive me. Forgive me. Why can't I forgive me?
Guitar over there in terms of its chaoticness, right? It plays into all of that. It plays into his psychological state, where feels it's always high frequency, always super chaotic. This question of whether he's going to forgive himself or not forgive himself is kind of like the final question. It's the reckoning of his entire existence. Love it. Let's go.
Set sail to sea, but pull off course by the light of golden treasure. How could he know this new dawn's light would change his life forever? How can I be lost if I've got nowhere to go? Search for seas of gold. How come it's got so cold? How can I be lost in remembrance I relive? So how can I blame you when it's me I can't forgive?
Amazing. Amazing. How am I to hold you accountable if I cannot hold myself accountable? Fire. Fire, fire, fire. This trilogy has been epic. So clever. We could be here for an hour speaking about how they all tie in from the very beginning, the very first trilogy, where he's dealing with his childhood and his innocence and like growing up through all of that and trying to find the light and break out of his prison, to the second one where he talks about the person that he loves being in the same state. So he kind of feels like it's not just himself, but it's all the people that that even the person that he loved was in that same space and in that same darkness in that same room. So he feels like he needed to help that person, right? Even though he was unable to help himself as well. And then going into this one over here where it's like the vehicle of really trying to journey on, right? To either forgive himself or to not forgive himself before time runs out. Fire. Absolutely fire. The whole trilogy is fire. We have started the series in such an epic way. And for those of you who are only watching at this point, you should not have been watching this far into it without going back into the first two. Mad. That was mad. Absolutely loved that. Loved those three trilogies. But we've been on here for long enough. I literally cannot help myself sometimes to just speak on certain things. But anyway, please stay safe, please stay healthy. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.